Do you follow any other sports?
Football, probably the biggest.
Who's your team?
Green Bay Packers. I worked the Super Bowl when they played Denver in San Diego on event staff, so I could go to the game.
Oh,
I was
shit.
kickboxing at the time, but I was kickboxing, but no one knew who I was. And then fast forward 2010, I was in a field box, and they asked me afterwards, "You want to come on the field?" You know, like, yeah, bears in the woods. Come on. Yeah, of course I want to go on. So I come on the field, and they just won my team now. They just won the Super Bowl, and I got players asking me for a picture with their families after they just won the Super Bowl. So that was the first time I actually went, man, came a long way in 12 years.
That's like such an underdog, awesome story. Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we're on a mission to find the greatest game of all time, or the greatest fight of all time. And on today's episode, we are covering UFC 52, Couture versus Liddell 2, with Hall of Famer and one of the GOATs of the sport, the Iceman himself, Chuck Liddell. And we get into talking his legendary rivalry with Randy Couture.
Great opponent. I mean, he's a really tough guy. Really good dirty boxing, good wrestling, good control.
If Chuck could beat Mike Tyson in a street fight.
He's got one shot. After that, he always felt like I could beat anybody.
And how his entourage cameo came to be.
I asked everybody I knew if I could get me on the show. Like, I just want to walk on and say hi to Vince.
And then we hit the old chill line in this week's Chill Zone, presented by Coors Light. You gotta stick around to the very end. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. April 16th, 2005. MGM Grand Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada.
It took 2 years to make this rematch a reality.
But it only took one round for the Iceman to finish it. This is the Iceman cometh.
You got it.
I let you go first. Welcome to Games with Names. We have a very special guest. We have Chuck Liddell in the Nuthouse to talk about the UFC 52 match between Couture and Liddell. Two at the height of what UFC was going to become. This was the, you know, when you're starting a fire or your coals and you throw that goddamn lighter fluid on there? That's what this was for the UFC. Chuck, welcome to the Nuthouse. In one sentence, why'd you pick this fight?
I wanted revenge and I wanted the title. My manager at the time quit over me insisting on taking this to doing the show to get the title and get another title shot. Because I'd lost the first time when I fought Randy, and there was an argument between me and him. He wanted more money, wanted this. I said, I don't care. I want the title. And if I do the show, I get the title. Because they were trying to add 2 fights at the end of my deal or whatever. So it was for me to do it, because this fight would have been the last fight on my deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like I wanted to be the world champ. I wanted to be the best in the world.
You wanted to be the title. Is this the greatest fight of all time?
That I don't know.
We ask every guest. That's just one of the things we do.
I don't know. But when people ask me all the time, they ask me, what's your favorite fight of all time? And if you put a lot of great fights out there, a lot of fights that get the honorable mention. But if I had to pick one, this is it.
Because it was the first time you got to experience that title.
And I did it the way I like to do it. Clean knockout. And I did how we planned it. We had everything worked perfect.
Clean knockout. We'll jump into it. That's freaking awesome. What are you up to these days?
Raising my kids. I do some, Clothing Line, King of Violence, doing those Out Cold reaction videos. Those are kind of fun.
Yeah.
Just kind of having fun with it, doing different things. I do some movies, some TV, do some stuff, commentating some here and there, just whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
kind of trying to have fun and enjoy my retirement.
Enjoying retirement. It's never really retirement, though. You're transitioning. It's always like transitioning into other shit.
You can't not. Someone that's driven as much as athletes are. You retire at a young age for, and you want to do something. You can't. You only sitting around being done lasts for a very short amount of time, and your brain just starts going, what am I doing? Why am I? You need something to drive you.
So you need something to stimulate you, especially with athletes. Like for me, my first year out, it was tough. You know, you experience everything. You had everything scheduled out since you were fucking 8 years old. You had a team you were a part of. You had something you were going for.
You're always working for something. There was always that. And for me, like I'm a maniac, you know,
Yeah.
like I always was. So there was always that something to draw me back. Like I still have this goal. I'm gonna be world champ. I want to be the best in the world. I want to do these things. So that's always there guiding me, like keeping me under, reeling me back in. Because I just say, oh yeah, I take a bunch of time off after fights. I never took a bunch of time. I took a week off, maybe a week and a half. And then me being off was like me being back in the gym and me not being the focus.
Yeah.
Just working with my guys, or just someone else has a fight coming up, I'm working on them. But I was always training.
Always training.
Yeah, always getting ready for something.
Now, you said maniac. You're a maniac. I you know, from the outside looking in, that's what it looks like. How did this maniac develop? Like, tell us about a young Chuck Liddell in Santa Barbara. Tell us about young Chuck Liddell, Santa Barbara, where the maniac that didn't have a dad, that was raised by his grandfather and his mother and his grandma. Like, tell us about young Chuck Liddell and how this maniac became.
You know, honestly, I just really like fighting. I liked martial arts. I started watching Kung Fu Theater when I was young, and I begged my mom to let me. I was trying to learn how to box for a while, and trying to beg my mom to let me start doing karate, and to start learning the martial arts. And she finally let me do it, and I started. And you know, I was picked on a little bit when I was young, and was told not to fight. But I did. So I didn't. And the principal actually called my mom and said, like, you know, these kids are beating him up every day. Like, you know, and I asked him why he doesn't defend himself, and he said, you said he can't. He's not allowed to fight, so he wouldn't. You know, so they're like, and they were actually taking my lunch money, and before, you know, I wouldn't give it to them, so they'd have to take it. Which I kind of look back at that as kind of, hey, you're gonna take it, but I can't fight you back.
Yeah.
And then my mom said, you know, you can't start a fight, but you can go ahead and finish it. My grandpa started working with me on fighting, and grandpa's a little nuts, but you know, he's from Brooklyn and grew up tough, and you know, he showed me how to knife fight, and I'm like, okay, I'm a little young for that, but all right. But yeah, he taught me how to fight, and I like fighting. And I just like fighting a lot, and growing up through high school, I fought a lot. And you'd be surprised how many UFC guys that fight in the UFC that didn't get in fights growing up. You know, that wasn't their thing.
Yeah.
But I fought a lot. But usually, I always said it. I never started a fight.
Sure ended them.
I never let you out of it real easy either. I figured out when I was about 21, 22, like, hey, you got to give guys outs. Because I'm not going to let you do something I don't want you to do. But, you know, back then I'd be like, hey, man, hey, he don't want to fight you, but I will. They're like, well, I got no problem with you. You kind of do now. You were going to beat him up, right? He doesn't want to fight, but I'll fight you. So why don't you fight me? Make them either put their tail between their legs or throw a punch. So used to did a lot of that, did a lot of fighting growing up.
Now, I was reading about you, and I was doing all our research. I was infatuated with your relationship with your grandpa. It reminded me a lot of your upbringing. Reminded me a lot of my dad. My dad didn't have his pop. He was with his mom only. He didn't have grandpa around, but he had an older brother that was kind of like that. So he had that. Like, what role did your grandpa play in all of this?
Well, a lot of it, I think. I mean, I keep thinking, like, how did he get me to feel the way he made me feel? Like, one thing I always knew, like, my grandpa's always proud of me. Like, if you give you 100, I don't care what you're doing, you give it 100%, you lose, no one can ask more from you. You know, I'm proud. He's proud of you. You know, you go out there, win, lose, draw. As long as you go out there and bust your ass, he doesn't care. You go out there and dog it, he's gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Growing up with my grandpa, you know, that's one thing. Another thing, I was never afraid of a man in my life. Never have been. People always ask me, you worry if you're walking to a bar and try to figure out which guys you might have to. Why?
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, you commit a fighting offense, we're fighting.
Yeah.
You do something I'm not going to allow you to do. I don't want you to do. I'm going to stop you. You know, or I'm not. And you know, I just never cared. Like, I've never worried about anybody like that.
Yeah.
And it was something about the way my grandpa brought, you know, a lot of times it was just through stories and telling stories. He's telling a story about one time he rolled up to a bar fight, and he was there late. His buddies all beat up. The cops showed up and arrested him. And they said to him, oh, well, we figured you must have been on the other side because you don't have a mark on you. So I'm like, to me, that's what that meant. You know, like, he was reminded me, and my grandpa was one of those guys. He always believed in me. Always thought I could do anything. And that confidence, I'll die for him. You know, trying to prove him I can do what he said, what he thinks I can do.
Yeah.
But having that confidence and that being comfortable with the consequences. Like, I don't care. Like, you gotta understand. Like, if we decide to fight in the street, I don't care what happens to me, and I don't care what happens to you. That's just, it's not. I don't want to. I'm not a violent person. I don't like to attack people. I don't want to fight anybody. But if you want to fight, I mean, I like fighting. I like fighting as a sport. I like trying to show you I'm better than you. You want to. Hey, who's better? Let's go. Let's go and do it. I love doing that, but I don't want to hurt anybody. That's not something I like. And if I decide that, I don't understand. If I decide to throw a punch at you, that attack you, you've done something pretty bad. You're attacking my family, my friends, my kids.
Yeah.
Somebody I really care about, and usually not me, because I can just defend myself pretty well.
Yeah.
So
no one's fucking with you, Chuck. I'll tell you that. I love that. Your grandpa, he was basically in your corner. He was the guy that pushed you.
We joke about that. I joke about that so much because I think I did Ed Milet's podcast, and he asked me, like, I told him a story. My grandpa said, I was 19 years old. Oh man, you can beat that Mike Tyson guy. That wasn't Tyson on the top of the world. You can beat that Mike Tyson guy. I said, yeah, Pops, thanks. Thanks, Pop. Love you. But I'd say it's the funny thing was nowadays it's a funny thing, like, who would win in a street fight? Me or Tyson? And I always say, like, he's one of the guys I say, well, he's got one shot on the way in. Yeah, as we're closing the distance, he got one shot. After that, if I get a hold of him, it's over. Yeah. But I don't want. But if he catches that shot, and now for boxing, I'm in a little trouble.
But he put that in your head, and he let you manifest that shit.
He always felt like I could beat anybody.
Now, do you? What's your sports fandom? Do you follow any other sports?
Football, probably the biggest.
Who's your team?
Green Bay Packers.
Why the Packers?
That's always the funny question, but it came down to I won a bet with my grandfather. He was bet on the Rams, and the Green Bay was not supposed to win. I won a game against my grandfather, and then right after that, this guy Roger Minami was giving out hats to our football team, and said, "Oh, what's your favorite football team?" And I didn't have one really. I was like, Packers, Green Bay, and I stuck with it. And I stayed there, and that was when the Bears were big. So I graduated in '88.
Yeah,
and it was a big, refrigerator Perry and all those guys.
Niners were awesome.
Yeah, and I was a Green Bay fan. I stuck it out. I actually, I tell the story that now. I worked the Super Bowl when they played Denver and San Diego on event staff, so I could go to the game.
Oh,
shit! I was kickboxing at the time, but I was kickboxing, but no one knew who I was. And my buddy was doing the event staff, and he's like, "Hey, you want to work the Super Bowl? I'll put you on the 50-yard line in the stands, but your 50-yard line, front row, and you can watch the Super Bowl." So I went to the Super Bowl and watched them lose. And then then fast forward 2010, I was in a field box, and they asked me afterwards, "You want to come on the field?" Yeah, parachute in the woods. Come on, yeah, of course I want to go on. So I come on the field, and they just won my team. Now they just won the Super Bowl, and I got players asking me for a picture with their families after they just won the Super Bowl. So that was the first time I actually went, man, came a long way in 12 years.
Yeah, I mean,
it was 98 to 2010, I think.
Look at that. He was working the game as security of his favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, to the next time they get up in there with Aaron Rodgers. I think A-Rod asked him for a pic. He said, "I want a Chuck Liddell picture after the Super Bowl." That's like such an underdog, awesome story. Any other sports?
Yeah, I'll watch just about anything.
Yeah.
I like all the fighting sports.
Are you watching fighting now?
Yeah, well, I love fighting. I still love boxing, kickboxing, MMA.
Who's the fighter right now that you're like, that dude's a badass motherfucker?
Alex Puera. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I love watching him fight. I think I robbed his last fight, but
yeah.
I mean, you can't. The way I don't know who was watching that fight. They got one of those judges had it 4 rounds to 1. I don't know what fight he was watching, but
yeah,
that just he got 0 takedowns, dude. Like, how do you get that control against the cage for a minute in the last round? How do you give him the last round? I don't know. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Did
I
you?
haven't rewatched it yet, but in person it looked terrible.
It looked bad.
Bad decision.
I'm not, that's why there's so much objectiveness in these sports. There's so much gray in like boxing, fighting, fucking Russian judges in Olympics.
I think fighting, the big problem with that too is like it's hard to judge wrestling if you've never wrestled.
Yeah.
Or jiu-jitsu if you've never done jiu-jitsu. You know, it's just, there are hard things to really quantify what's real control, what's just holding on to a guy. Like I can watch a guy, okay, that guy's just holding the guy. He's not really trying to do anything, he's killing time right there.
Killing time. Yeah.
Just relaxing and killing time. Is he doing anything much? No.
Yeah.
We should get a slight edge for that. But like, you know, or like an attempted submission. What's an attempted submission? If it's close, okay.
Yeah.
But a guy just trying one, that doesn't count. Like,
Yeah.
what's that count for? Why people try to get, for a while they're trying to make that count, like for just, it's like me throwing a punch and you give me credit for it.
Yeah.
Just because I threw it. I didn't get close to landing it, but I should get points for it.
Yeah. Now, you wrestled in high school.
Wrestled in high school and college.
And you fell in love with, how did you fall in love with wrestling?
I just like, actually I was forced to do it by my football coach.
So you did karate before?
I did karate before. I started when I was 12. Was 14. My sophomore year in high school. Our football coach said, "Are you doing anything else? Are you playing basketball or anything in the winter sport? No, you're wrestling."
You said,
so I was kind of just thrown into it.
Because you got to think about this. Like Chuck is legit, probably. Like this generation of UFC was like the first like blood sport type fighter that like you put any kind of fighter in a ring and we see who's the best one coming out. And it's cool to see how it was developed because look, he did karate at 12 to whenever, and then he started doing wrestling. So he's naturally getting all these fucking skills.
And here's the thing, back then, that was one of the advantages I had in the beginning. Because when I came into the sport, everybody was coming from one discipline. And there's basically three disciplines, right? There's striking, all the different striking. There's submissions from the ground, and then there's wrestling, which is the transition between standing and ground. And everybody had one and was trying to learn the other two. I had the advantage of coming in and knowing two and being pretty good at two, and having to learn one. And like I was a 50-50 wrestler in college. I mean, I fought Randleman. He didn't take me down, but he if we wrestled a straight wrestling match, he was national champ the year when I was 50. You know, had a 500 record.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, he would have taken me down, but he had to give me a little extra distance because I hit hard. I throw punches when you get close, and I was able to defend his takedowns and knock him out in that fight. So it's one of those things. It's just like, you know, me coming in with two and only have to concentrate on learning one. And then I made the conscious effort to learn just a small, to concentrate mostly on a smaller portion of that thing. Because I wasn't going to be slick enough to catch guys at the level I started fighting in the UFC, so I wasn't going to be slick enough to catch people at that level. Yeah. It's going to take me too long to learn to be that good. So I just worked on getting out and standing up from that position, and I do different things. Like, buddy showed me how to roll to a knee bar, and I figured out if I get halfway through rolling to that knee bar, and they're defending the knee bar, I just pull my leg out and stand up. Yeah, and it worked really great. Yeah, you know, so I would catch guys by surprise a lot back then. So.
Yeah. Now, did you see any of your what position you play in football? Were you a linebacker?
Linebacker. Clearly,
I mean, you gotta be a linebacker. So. Do you think you got any of your striking or your fucking explosiveness from learning how to tackle?
Everything played into it, you know. I used to like to hit. That was one of my things. But
I played with Steve Neal, and he didn't play football in college. Have you heard of him?
I know Steve
Neal was a badass motherfucking wrestler, and he played
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield. Yeah. He's a big Bakersfield guy, and he didn't play any football. He came in.
I went to Cal Poly, so that's
it's like a feeder.
We wrestled against them. We were Pac-10, but we were Pac-10 technically for wrestling.
Yeah, and he's the only reason they still have wrestling because he still feeds the fucking program, bro. it's just so crazy because he was one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen on the field.
Like he's one of those heavyweight wrestlers that wrestled like a 118 pounder.
Exactly.
The heavyweights normally a little bit slower, a little bit different. Yeah. Different style of wrestling. You know, as you get bigger, styles get different, right? He was wrestling heavyweight like a 118 pounder.
And that's how he got on linebackers. He got on linebackers to the second level. Really good linemen. Getting to the second level is the tough part. Is getting to those fast fucking linebackers. You know, battling with those big boys, they could do that. So they got to bounce off that guy and get to that second level and try to catch a fast guy. And Steve was so fucking good at that. It's probably because of all the wrestling.
Yeah, oh yeah, wrestling transfers that way really well because it's the body-on-body contact. That's why, like for me, like as a coach, when I was doing it, and you get guys from different things, I would say, give me an all-American wrestler. Yeah. You know, because I got a guy that I know he's mentally tough. I know he knows how to cut weight and make weight, and he's got skills that I'm never going to be able to teach guys. Yeah, I don't have time. I could teach a striker to wrestle and to wrestle for MMA, but you're never going to have the time to teach them some of the natural stuff that the reps that they're going to get, those reps that they got growing up, and those guys in their hips and the different things that they do for wrestling. So and that's an element that makes it a lot. I can teach those guys. Most of those guys, my wrestlers that come in, I teach them in six months a year to stay out of any submissions that most fighters are going to run into. Going to put them in, and they just because they can stay on top. Yeah. If they can stay on top, it's there, and they're tough up there.
So you think that the wrestling base is always the best base to start?
Well, it's the easiest base.
It's like foundation, actually. It's a foundation. Yeah.
And it's harder to learn when you're older.
Yeah.
Because the reps it takes, and wrestling is hard. Like takedowns, that's hard on your body.
And like I bet like the hip mobility and stuff, being in those awkward positions. Like I'm a sprinter, so I have no fucking hip move. Like I can't do any of that. But watching like wrestlers and you guys getting in those fucking things, like when you do that at a younger age, the more muscle you put on, the older you get, it probably translates.
Yeah, it translates. It's used to it.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. When's the first time you realized you had heavy hands?
I knew from fighting in the street and stuff, I could knock people out. I knocked a lot of people out growing up. And, just knowing that I could, that one punch knockout was not, it took me a minute to find it. So John really helped me with that. Hackelman. John really helped me refine my skill, and to get my timing down a little more. I always had that pop on my elbows and stuff, but just being able to land those punches and land those heavy punches was a lot from John.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you got punched in the face?
No, it's been way too long.
I say the same thing. I say I don't remember my first hit at all. No. It sparked something.
Yeah, I love fighting guys that don't like getting hit.
Yeah,
because you get those guys. No one really likes getting hit. Okay, I say don't like getting hit. What I mean by don't like getting hit is that they overreact to maybe getting hit.
Yeah.
So when you start, it's way too easy. If you're a good striker, it's way too easy for you to set a guy up. Brock Lesnar, watching him, like, he's so afraid to get hit. And now, that being said, that guy's all heart. Yeah. Like Shane Carwin fight when he got dropped. Yeah. Him surviving and just keep fighting and going and trying to win after getting dropped like that. That's all heart.
That's heart.
So, but he still had that fear of getting hit. Yeah. Like it's a weird thing to get used to. Like a lot of guys don't convert from wrestling. That's the other thing. I'm not willing to teach you to be mentally tough if you come to me to fight, and I'm not able to give you a chin.
Yeah. When did you know you wanted to make fighting a career?
Oh, it was just I kind of just kept going. I just graduated. I graduated from college. I was kickboxing to continue to keep competing while I was doing.
Now, when did kickboxing come? So we went to college.
I just finished wrestling in '93. Started kickboxing, just to kind of keep competing while I was finishing up school. I finished school in '95, but then I was an accounting major, and I was, kind of working in a bar, fighting, training every day, fighting. Maybe I'm going to try this fighting thing for a little while.
Now, where could you fight at that time when you were thinking of this? Was UFC was coming around?
UFC came in '93,
right? So you're in '95, but it's still new.
It's new, and I wasn't even thinking about it. Actually, Lorenzo Neal by that time was already telling me I should like, you know, do UFC. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to get in. Like everybody, like they talk about it, but no one knew how to get into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get into it back then.
Yeah.
There's no internet. There's no social media. There's no easy way to find out where to go to get.
There's no information.
I was actually got to the point in '97 where I was about ready to like say, you know what, my grandma's giving me a hard time. I gotta really go get a real job. I was talking to John about it, and John's like, you know, I don't know if we're gonna go overseas and fight. And kickboxing, you had to go overseas to make any money.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're gonna get, I don't know if it's gonna get there and that. And so I'm like, maybe. And then someone actually, this guy Nick One Kick Blongren in Vegas asked me if I want to do a mixed fight on one of his shows. Just open hand palm strike, like Pancras old school rules.
Yeah.
And I went out and I was like, okay, sure, why not? Well, I'll do one more fight, you know, like before I go look for a real job. And I was to land it as much as I could.
Hell yeah.
So when I went out there and wound up, by the time I got there, it was just, you could only slap with this part of your hand, but you could kick that. And then once you hit the ground, there was no striking. But I'm like, when I was fighting a jiu-jitsu guy, I guess, and I'm like, okay, no problem. So I went out and I wound up kicking the guy in the head and knocking him out. And some guy asked me right after, said, man, do you want to fight in the UFC? I said, yeah, sure, let's try it. So they offered me an alternate spot in the tournament for $1,000 to go out. And the tournament was $25,000 if you won it, but it was $1,000 to show up and fight one fight, and then you're the alternates in the tournament. So if you get in, and they said 5 out of the last 7 got in. So if I got in, it would be either 10,000 or 20,000, I think, or 25 or whatever. And so okay, perfect. So I went and did that, and I just kind of fell in love with doing it. I wound up, you know, that was in '98, UFC 17, and I won my fight. Didn't get into the tournament. I tried to talk Henderson out of fight in the second round, but because they asked me, what do you think you should do? His legs kind of beat up from that first fight, and I'm like, the best thing would be to just hold off till next time. Maybe you should, like, I don't know if they figured out that I was not giving good advice, but I was trying to talk him out of fighting that round because I wanted to fight.
Hell yeah. Now, John Heckelman, that's got to be one of your guys that, like, he kind of like in that grandpa role where he told you, hey, he kind of like, you can do this shit. You should do this shit, or he guided you. I don't know.
He guided me. Yeah, and he's always there. He's always there. You know, we're still friends. You know, we still train. We still come up and train with him. He was my coach the whole time, and he really helped. And like, he wasn't traveling, wasn't working with me as much right in the beginning. And I said, hey man, I need your help strike, because we was doing the mixed martial arts stuff. He's like, didn't know if he fit in that much. I need you to come back. I'm not knocking guys out exactly. See what's off.
Yeah.
Because like, he was one of the guys like for me, I would be not dropping guys with my body shot, my liver shot. You know, I'd be missing, and he'd be like, change that angle though. You just angle it a little more up. Okay, boom. Oh, thanks, John. Guys, drop one of the guys sparring. Okay, that worked.
He was your Miyagi.
Yeah.
He was your Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, for sure.
When's the first time you meet Dana White?
Don't know exactly. I met him. I was trained with Tito a little bit. And when we trained together, he was managing Tito, and he actually told Dana, "Hey man, you're managing Tito. You like him? Well, watch this guy. You know, just gotta see Chuck." Because I used to beat Tito up all the time in training. Yeah. Like I could beat him in wrestling. I could beat him at our styles just didn't match well for him. Yeah. I could beat him in straight wrestling. I beat him in a jiu-jitsu match. I mean, he's probably better at submitting people than I was, but I'd outscore him in a submission match. Beat him every time we wrestled. I beat him, and every time we struck, I beat him. Like I dropped him body a bunch of times.
And he's the face of the league right now.
He wasn't the face of the league, but he was because they hadn't taken it over yet. Because Dana was our manager.
So he's just your manager.
He was my manager at that time.
So you meet him through Tito-ish.
Through Wayne Harriman.
And so then you start training with Tito, and then all of a sudden Dana's like, who the fuck's this guy beating the shit out of my guy? And then
then we went and did everything. They want to buy in the UFC, you know.
How was he as a manager?
Great. Like, he was the first guy going out and trying to get other things. Like, he was trying to get us in, like, not just like Black Belt magazine or whatever. He's trying to get us fitness magazines or get different. He was trying to get better exposure, more stuff.
Yeah, he was getting you to different markets.
Yeah, he was really. And then when he, you know, I think I don't like to speak for him, but I think the the way I understood it back then was he was looking at him and Lorenzo were talking about doing a boxing promotion, and they decided, hey, why don't we do this UFC stuff that's not being run right? Let's do it the right way. And so they got it, and then they sunk a bunch of money into it, and then it took off.
So did the relationship change once he became like pretty much the president?
Well, when they bought the company, he had to release me. And actually, he had his old lawyer who did my legal stuff as his manager. But he became my manager.
So he took care of you.
Yeah, and then he actually quit over me taking the Ultimate Fighter deal because
your old manager.
That old manager quit. He quit because he thought I wasn't trusting him with stuff. I mean, I get it, but it was like I said, no, we got to do this. I want that title.
Yeah,
it guarantees me it's a title shot, and it's going to be on free TV. We have to do this.
Yeah. What's Dana White mean to the UFC?
We wouldn't be here today. Like I tell people all the time. People try to whatever they want to say about him, about money and all that stuff. When I came into the sport, when I loved it and I moved in. I mean, a home run was making $150,000 a year. By the end of my career, like I was making over $150,000 on my shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gone away from that now too. But I was making more than that in sponsorship. And not that. And by the way, that home run was fighting 3 times that year to make that 150.
Yeah.
And that's like it. That was if you were the top guys.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have advanced as far. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. I mean, I think it would have eventually got here.
Yeah.
Without the Ultimate Fighter and without all the things that they did to promote the sport.
And then regulate it.
I think we would have gotten here because it's a great sport. But I think we'd still be fighting to get here.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here yet. It's one of those things. It's like, I mean, I remember we went around. We were doing all these things, just trying to get. We were going to Boston Globe, begging them to put us in the leisure section.
Yeah.
They weren't even covering us in the sports section. They wanted just to put us anywhere.
Yeah.
I always thought it was funny when they called me a few years later and asked me for where I like to vacation for their leisure section. After we'd been there trying to break in to just get coverage, and that was one of the things for me that actually I think helped me cross over a little more with fans and stuff like that. So we were doing all this stuff. Man, you did a good job of marketing yourself. No, I wasn't marketing me. I was trying to market our sport.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get Dancing with the Stars. I did that because it's a different demographic, and I wanted them to see us. And they were not a bunch of Neanderthals, because that's one of the things we're fighting in the beginning was just a bunch of guys that fell off a bar stool and wanted to fight.
That's why Dana did it too.
I had nothing else to do this. I'm like, I had a college degree. I could have gone and been an accountant if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I like fighting. I like training. I like doing martial arts. I like the sport.
It's freaking Dana White blew the bitch up.
Yeah,
he blew the bitch up.
But that was he was always trying to promote it, make it big, man.
And look where we're at now. We're at 10, 11, 12B now. And I mean, it's on ESPN. It's so crazy because during this whole time, especially UFC 52, when this match took place in 2005. I mean, I was in high school. I remember like starting to learn about the UFC. My brother loved it, and now. Like you go to a high school now, everyone's talking about UFC on the clips, on Instagram, to this, to that. I mean, it's a major sport now. It's a fucking major. I would consider it a major. It's in the Big Five now. They created themselves to be in over boxing. It's killing boxing right now.
Really took advantage of COVID too.
COVID was huge. It's fucking awesome. We got Chuck Liddell in here. Let's go back into a segment where we go back into time when the fight took place. This fight took place April 16th, 2005. And we go over pop culture and we just talk about what was going on. Number one movie. What is that?
Amityville Horror, starring Ryan Reynolds and Philip Baker Hall. Michael Bay produced it. It was a remake of a 1979 film adaptation from a book by Jay Arson. Budget $19 million, gross $107.5 million.
Did you see that?
I actually never saw it.
I never saw that one either, Chuck.
It's scary.
I was never a horror movie guy.
Yeah.
Never have been.
Me either.
It's just one of those things that they don't scare me usually. And usually it's like, I remember watching one, Brad Penny told me to watch, started scared. The thing's like, oh, hey, man, this kind of creepy movie, and this guy's kidnapped. And then this guy starts wrestling with the like the boogeyman guy, and like he's actually wrestling with him. I'm like, okay, that's over. If that guy can survive that, I'd kill that guy.
Chuck Liddell doesn't watch scary movies. Scary movies watch Chuck Liddell.
Exactly. I watched The Exorcist when I was 13 years old. I slept with my parents for 2 weeks after that. I was fucking terrified. The Exorcist fucked me up. And Chucky. When I was young, I had an older brother who used to do a bunch of he was 7 years older, so he used to fuck with me. So I don't like scary movies either, Chuck. I'm with you. Candy Shop, we all knew that with 50 Cent. That was that was high school, baby.
This is senior year for you?
This is like senior year, I think. This is when Tom Cruise jumped on Oprah's couch?
Yeah.
Is this when he went Scientology and went kind of...
I think he's always been Scientology.
Probably.
He went a little... He's still cool. I still watch all his movies. I'll support the shit out of... YouTube came out in 2005?
The first video ever was posted on YouTube. It was titled Me at the Zoo. It was uploaded by one of YouTube's co-founders. It was a 19-second video of him standing next to elephants at a zoo.
Interesting.
And now we watch fucking like chickens take dumps, and over fucking 1 billion people will watch that because of that.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's fucking nuts. NBA champion San Antonio Spurs, MVP Steve Nash. He was fucking dirty. NFL champions, the Pats. This is when they took down Eagles.
Yeah, this is the last of the four.
Last of the three. The first three. Peyton Manning was the MVP. What was Chuck Liddell like in 2005?
2005. I was at top of my game and fighting. I was just loving it. It was awesome. I mean, we were, just having fun. It was really different though. Like I gotta say, like, so we did Ultimate Fighter, right? So we filmed it 04, and then, I was walking around a mall, like right after it started airing, like the people coming up to me like, "Hey, good fight!" Like, "Hey," like I used to be able to walk into a room and go, "Okay, that guy with the tap out shirt, and that guy over there, and that guy over there probably know who I am." And then all of a sudden, I got like, grandma's coming up, "Hey, great fight the other night." I'm like, "How do you know what?"
Yeah,
like it was all of a sudden it went from being real pretty easy to tell who might know you to everybody. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, the Ed Hardy guy, he knows him, but now we got Grandma. Grandma's now knowing. Dude, we got to talk about... I remember watching you in fucking Entourage. Who'd you punk? Johnny Drama?
Johnny Drama, yeah. That was cool.
Because that was like the biggest show in the world.
Oh, yeah. I loved that show.
We all loved it.
For me, like, it was one of those shows that was probably the last show that I actually when I was traveling, would actually go try to find someplace at HBO on Sunday night so I could watch it.
Without a doubt, because we couldn't binge it back then. You can't just binge shit.
And I asked everybody I knew to if they could get me on the show. Like, I just want to walk on and say hi to Vince. And it was cool that when they found out they could put me on, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna put him on. We might as well make him the Punked." I think they had originally had something else, but they came up with do a different Punked because it was like You Got episode.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
You were everywhere in this time.
Yeah, and again, it's like one of those things. We're just trying to promote the sport.
Yeah.
Back then, like a lot of people had no idea who I was. Now they knew who I was. So now they hear I'm fighting on it. Then maybe I'll watch that guy. Maybe I'll watch pay-per-view. That was the idea.
What was your coolest experience that you think this time? What was the one that you like? That was fucking. I made. Oh, this is pretty cool.
It was right after a week after the fight, like winning this fight, like Lorenzo, those guys. Lorenzo, "Hey, do you want to go on a vacation with us?" And then we flew in a private jet to Ibiza. And went on they're a couple 200-foot yachts.
Yeah.
They had like 88-foot tenders and they're crazy. Like it was like, and like for a kid, I wasn't a kid anymore. I was 35, but I mean, I'd never done anything like that.
No.
And then we did that for a week, and then I went to, I think I did on the longest, like, I think we went to England and did a PR tour for a couple of days there. Then I flew back, and I was in like 17 cities and 5 countries in like 5 days.
They were working.
Or like in 25 days or something. It was something crazy.
You were the perfect person at this time to promote the game because you look like a fighter.
Yeah. And also you
had the haircut, you had the look, you had the fucking cauliflower ear, you had the thing.
I also had a college degree. We're still trying. We're still trying to convince people we're not just a bunch of
Without a doubt.
Neanderthals that have nothing else to do. Just want to fight, beat people up. So that was a little easier. Like that was one of the things I did. I went with I got before I fought Tito the first time. This is before this. They told me you got to do better on your interviews. Now the problem back then was everybody coming and going in an interview. They don't even read their one sheet. They don't know what they're talking. They didn't know what MMA was.
Yeah.
They'd ask you, "Is this pro wrestling, or is it like pro wrestling, or is it like this?" So they ask the dumbest questions in the world. And I'm like, it's hard to do an interview when no one knows what you're talking about. You don't know what to say. And then, so I got my manager back then, his sister was a drama teacher, and she actually said she'd coach me on doing interviews.
Yeah.
For a couple of days. And she asked me to write down the 10 most common questions I had. First of all, she goes, well, these are all shitty questions, and you got about 2 real questions here. So what you're going to do from now on is when you go out there, they ask you whatever shitty question they ask, answer the question, yes or no, and then talk for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes about whatever you want to talk about, and then if they're worth anything as an interviewer, they'll be able to
follow up
from there,
questions.
because we're doing radio, so it has to be pretty quick hits. So interviewing people love me after that. Man, what'd you do? Like, well, you told me to get better, and no one told me how to get better. I actually I went and got coached, like on how to actually do an interview.
Yeah.
How do I talk to people? Like what, and especially like I said back then, we were trying to educate the people asking us the questions.
Yeah.
What our sport is. They didn't know what it was. Like you get a radio show host, and they're like, who's this guy? He's what's fighting? I don't know. What's MMA? I don't know that. What's UFC? They don't know.
Yeah.
So there was still a lot of that back then. So we were doing all, it was fun.
We're always trying to improve here in the Nuthouse on Games with Names. Give us an example of a shitty question so we don't ask anyone.
I don't even know. It's just they do ask and answer. They'll ask and answer. Like, did you think it was good that this guy did that and did this and then he should have done this, but he should have done that? Like, so do I tell you you're wrong, and we argue about this, or do you want me just to go, because that's about my 2 choices.
So, yeah, don't answer the question in the question.
You got other interviews would over talk.
Yeah.
Or they just wouldn't know. They just ask because they don't know the sport at all.
It was so new.
So
what you should have done is you should have just did a little highlight clip of Bloodsport and had Van Damme over there fighting the dude doing this and fucking, the big belly flop guy. I loved that. That was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, I love that.
And that's how my brother pitched UFC to me when I was in high school, because we were all like, everyone watched boxing at that time. He's like, bro, it's fucking Bloodsport. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, go watch. I watched. I was like, it's Bloodsport. So what's on your pregame? Did you have a iPad or like iPod or anything? What was in the music?
You know what I mean? iPods. Yeah.
The old iPod, the little nanos.
They actually, one of the commissioners used to always say, man, I love being in your room because I never know what's going to come on next.
What's
because
the playlist?
I go from like Slayer to country to rap.
Yeah.
It just go from I play a lot of random stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Hitting all spectrums.
All spectrums. How stuff come on. Different things fire me up different ways. So yeah, I was just having fun back there. Anyways,
2005, Chuck Liddell's probably listening to like "Seen All That" by Young Jeezy and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Trap Star. Got a little country in there as well. Fucking awesome. Let's jump into the fight.
So Randy Couture, also known as The Natural, from Everett, Washington. Couture had a background in Greco-Roman wrestling, and he was an All-American wrestler at Oklahoma State. Go Cowboys. He served in the 101st Airborne before making his UFC debut in 1997. And in 2005, at this point in his career, he had a record of 13-6.
And he just came down from being heavyweight champ.
Can you break down his fighting style? Was he just a straight wrestler?
No, he's really good at dirty boxing, get inside and beat guys up in there, and then good wrestling, good control, good cage control, good just an all around good fighter, tough, take a shot.
What was his greatest strength?
It's wrestling, and yeah, like I said, it's wrestling and being able to control people.
What's Randy Couture mean to the MMA? He was a big name,
He's
man.
a big name, and he was great. He's a great opponent. I mean, he's a really tough guy. Guy's been around. Like I said, he gone up, won his heavyweight title, then came down, got the light heavyweight title. Yeah, so he's tough, man.
Any bad blood?
None. No, we're good.
Respect.
Respect. Well, I don't think everybody I fought. I'm friends with everybody I fought, pretty much.
Yeah.
Except for Tito, but I mean, I don't hate Tito. Just we don't get along.
Yeah.
That's all. We're fighting in public. I used to think it was funny, like even back in the day when we were still fighting. Like, we go to a club and they're like, "Hey man, Tito's here. Is everything gonna be okay?" I'm like, "You got $2 million." No, then yeah, things are gonna be fine. We're not gonna fight. It's like we're good.
So you fought Randy Couture in the inter-term match, right? It was like the interim belt, and you lost. It came out. It was kind of like you were thinking about Tito because there was all that Tito shit going on. Did you take anything from that first fight, like into this second fight when you're going into the title fight? Like, is that like for us when I play a team in the regular season and I got that film of playing them, when I played them in the postseason, I felt like I had an upper edge on them because I already felt their technique.
Right after we watched, I didn't watch film. That was the first fight I didn't watch films for until we rescheduled the new fight because I was so upset that I let Tito off the hook.
Yeah.
To fighting me. And not that I lost to Randy. I had respect for Randy. I just didn't like that I let Tito off the hook. It just crushed me.
Yeah.
So I was training, and Danny did a good job. He got me right back in the ring. Let me go fight, and Pride got me back fighting right away because that's what I needed to get back focused on something. And then we started going, and when I signed the fight, we're ready to go. I watched film on it, and I watched the film, and I go, we're gonna knock him out.
Yeah.
I got him. And I was always good at going back and I breaking down what things I saw, a few little things, and that's all I needed.
What did you see? What are you looking for when you're watching a film?
Well, when I'm watching a film against someone else, I'm trying to see what things they do,
like
what their movement habits are, and then usually when I fight them, I try to test and see if they're moving the same way against me.
Yeah,
because a lot of fighters don't move the same way depending on who you're fighting. They don't move. They have a lot of similarities in how they move, but they're not quite. They might be a little more worried about me hitting them, so they're going to move a little different, or they've trained a little different for me than they did for somebody else. But when you see how they're ready for you, and then when they win, they usually don't change it a whole lot.
It's so similar to football, because like that first drive when you're in offense, you're throwing shit out there, and you're putting stuff that you saw on film out there to see how they defend.
Right. It's very similar to that.
So then I can see, all right, we got our counter. We have this play in 2 drives.
Yeah.
We have a 3rd down look because they did this. So a lot of that, that chess in fucking fighting.
And that's the fun part about it is you're playing chess out there. And there's so many ways to win and lose in MMA.
Yeah.
That can, and that's what styles make fights a lot of times. Guys, this guy's an easier fight for this guy, but not so easy for that guy. It's different.
Matchups, baby.
Okay, so Chuck Liddell, now you obviously know this. This is for our audience back at home. Chuck Liddell, also known as the Iceman, fighting out of San Luis Obispo in California. Chuck was a D1 wrestler at Cal Poly, Go Mustangs, and was an amateur kickboxing champion. Known for his sprawl and brawl fighting style, he excelled with great takedown defense and heavy hands. Chuck made his UFC debut in 1998 in Mobile, Alabama. In 2005, when we're talking about at this point in your career, you had a record of 14-3.
On the height. When did you realize you had that overhand punch? When did you know it was going to connect in this fight?
And that was the thing. He will pressure you and come forward. And I worked on pivoting off and countering with that right hand. And that's
so you're pivoting.
So you pivot off and get him. He's still coming forward, and he catches him on the chin that way, dropped him. So he landed great.
And then you went in. See, the crazy thing is, you guys, when they drop and hit the ground, then you guys go into straight fucking hammer mode.
You got to finish them because some guys, you don't know. You don't know. Some guys can survive down there, and if you don't, and you have to make the ref stop it because otherwise, if you jump right on top of him, the ref's got to stop it.
Yeah.
If you don't, the ref can wait and see how he reacts.
Yeah.
Like you can hold on, but if a guy's up there, if you're up there hitting him, he's got to pull you off.
Yeah.
If you're not, you can wait a minute to call the fight. We go, wait, let me see, is Randy okay? Is Randy okay? You know, so
Yeah. Now, bell rings, fight starts. What's going through your head in this fight?
our thing was just keep moving our feet, keep circling, just keep your feet moving. So I just come in, and see how he's going to engage, see how he's going to come at me. I'm throwing a few punches at him, you know, just get him to come in. Because I know he wants to close this. He doesn't want to stand outside on me. He don't want to stand out, you know, stand out there and let me pick you apart. You know, he's gonna have to come in.
Now, when did this Iceman persona come from?
Well, that was just John called, like he nicknames everybody, I think. But he started calling me the Iceman because he said he didn't get nervous before fights. He had like 200 amateur fights and like 60 some odd pro fights, and he got nervous before every single one of them. And I think we were in Bakersfield fighting at the Strongbow Arena in there. And I was going to fight at like 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So he was going to come tape my hands at 8. But we'd been there since we got there. They had us get there at like 5:30. So I'm in the back sitting around doing nothing. And he goes looking for me. And he can't find me. He thinks maybe I took off. Like I said, guys freak out and take off or whatever. I thought I took off. And he's looking around. And finally he finds me. And I'm sleeping on a tie pad. Got my head on a tie pad, just sleeping in the corner.
Yeah.
And I was just killing time. We had no guy. Our other guy had already fought, and I was just kind of relaxing. So he just couldn't believe. I have trouble sleeping the night before I fight, but you're sleeping like a couple hours before your fight. You're just the Iceman. So he just started calling me the Iceman.
Hell yeah. You know, I used to nap before a game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because sometimes you get too jacked up before shit. Like you wear out mentally. Like it's gonna be a long battle in the battle. Like let me go in calm. Let me go in calm, refreshed.
100%. Like that. That's the thing. I like worrying about it. I always used to tell people, like, how are you so calm before you fight? I said, because I know it's not going to do me any good. We've already done the game plan. We've already trained. Training. End of camp was last week.
Hayes in the barn.
It's over. We can't do any more. Worrying about it's not going to do any good. So just go out and perform. If you just go out and perform, you're going to do a lot better than you will if you go out worried. If you spend all night worried about it. I mean, I have a funny story. Like my buddy is friends of both of us, me and Tito, before he fought the first time. He went down to see Tito, and Tito was in his room. And they were all in the front room talking strategy and what he's going to do tomorrow and all this stuff. He said he came up and knocks on my door, and he comes in and he walks in. I got 2 girls in my bed. And he's
Iceman.
He's like, I knew who was going to win right there. So you were just completely relaxed and didn't care. I'm like, it's being calm. You know, it's like it does me no good to worry about it. So why do it?
It does them no good to worry. So why worry?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a good test taker. I always did well when I outshot what I probably should have done on test. Cause I relax. I'm studying until you close the book. As soon as they start the test, I'm relaxed. I just go and do my answers. Hey, do what I can do. That's all you can do. There's no more worrying about it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what you can't. You know, it's like people say it all the time. Don't worry about what you can't. Things you can't change.
Control.
You can't affect. Can't control.
I need a little chuck in my head sometimes. Can we put a bow on this on the fight and walk us through the fight, Kai Guy?
So first, before we do the fight, we got to do the lead up. That's very important for this match. The lead up to UFC 52 is a rematch from 2 years in the making. Couture won the interim championship we mentioned before in their first meeting in a 3rd round TKO. Since that fight, Randy was 2-1, notably beating Tito Ortiz to unify the belt, and then beating Vitor Belfort. I probably butchered that to reclaim the belt. And then Chuck went 3-1, also beat Tito Ortiz, and also competed in the Pride Grand Prix tournament representing the UFC. And this led up to UFC 52, but also a part of UFC 52 is the Ultimate Fighter Season 1. So Ultimate Fighter Season 1 is where Chuck and Randy were coaches. It was
I won both weight classes.
That's right. With the UFC struggling to stay afloat, Dana White pitched the idea of an MMA reality show to the newly created Spike TV. 16 fighters across 2 weight classes, middleweight and heavyweight. 2 teams led by Coach Liddell and Coach Couture. And the winner will receive a 6-figure fight contract with the UFC. Dana White credits the finale fight between Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonnar with saving the UFC.
Oh, it was great. Like, it was our first free fight on TV, right? And to have that amazing a fight that had had all elements of MMA in it, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better fight. 'Cause it's like a Gotti Ward type fight. Maybe not the 2 best guys out there right now at that time, but such a great
Put
matchup.
on a show.
Such a great matchup. Put on a great show. You know, they both had successful careers after that. You know, Forrest, man, Forrest tough.
Yeah.
Good fighter. Did great.
Now, when you did this show, did you notice that every little kid everywhere was starting to do your mohawk, and what inspired this mohawk?
No, I didn't notice that.
Because I remember kids trying to be Chuck Liddell with the mohawk.
Honestly,
I think I had one.
I had one too.
In this year.
So I grew up my whole life with the shaved head, like short, growing up till about my 8th grade. And in 8th grade, I had a teacher, a subject teacher, asked me after class, like, "Hey, so what's it like being a skinhead?" I'm like, "So ask me about the skinhead culture." Like, I'm what? I'm not a skinhead. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, and I'm like, I don't even know what skinhead. What? Huh?
Yeah.
Like, and so I told my grandma that. And I was laughing, telling the story to my grandma and my grandpa. And then, she said, "Oh, okay, we're going to let you grow your hair out a little bit." My grandma goes, so people don't mistake you for a skinhead. Because that was a big thing, issue with that back then. And I'm like, okay. So I got to grow my hair out. So now we're in college, and I think it was 92, and my buddies were going to Slayer concert. We're all going to Slayer concert. Everyone's going to shave their heads. I'm saying, nah, not going to happen. I did that for way too long. Not going to happen. They said, you got to do something. Come on. Well, how about a mohawk? I'll do a mohawk. So I did a mohawk. And I actually went up to I was working security at the fair after that. Really, I noticed that everybody there recognized, like all the people that worked there would recognize me when I was off. I get free food and stuff. And so people recognized it. And so I just kind of kept it, and I started kickboxing. I was fighting, and I actually went to one of my fights in Strongbow Arena, back early fights, with a hair growing out, because I got in an altercation at a club I worked at. I was working, and they wanted me to grow my hair out for the court case. Yeah, I won. The guy was an idiot. Yeah, I was, it was stupid. But anyway, so I won that, and then we went out. But I went the week before that. I had to fight. I fought, and so I had my hair grown out. I didn't fight. The promoter got mad at me. Said, "Hey man, don't ever do that to me again, man. You gotta wear your mohawk," because I had people complaining that you never showed up. Now I knocked a guy out in the second round that night, but they didn't know it was me.
No hawk.
Nobody knew there was no hawk. I was on the poster, but they didn't know I was there. They thought I didn't show up. Yeah. So where's the mohawk? I was on the poster. He wasn't on the poster, and he's like, "Don't do that to me again." People recognized me for that. So later on, when I fought in the UFC, and actually Peretti, the promoter back then, told me, "That's played out. Get rid of that mohawk." And I was done. I'm good. But it was actually a good thing for people to recognize me and notice me, especially back in the day when I first started getting a little bit of fame. People, you could see them going at the bar going like this. trying to look around my head, see if I have that tattoo. Is that him? Yeah, he's got the tattoo. Okay.
What's the tattoo?
It's from my original karate style. That's what we wear on our black belts. When we get our black belt, it's what we wear on our gis when we get our black belt. It's the kanji.
What does it mean?
Roughly, peace and prosperity, place of peace and prosperity, or house or temple of peace and prosperity.
Yeah.
Kind of the idea was you study martial arts to be for internal peace and prosperity.
Yeah. Before we go into grading this game, I want to ask, what was it like doing the Ultimate Fighter with having like cameras everywhere? Like that was like reality TV time and you guys are getting thrown into that. What was that whole experience like?
It was interesting. The whole thing. No, the nice part about it was like we were just there when we were on set.
Yeah.
They didn't have, the coaches weren't living in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was a learning curve for everybody. You know, they came in not quite understanding stuff, some things, and
etiquette.
We got a few arguments. I had a couple arguments with them over stuff, and I think they joked about it the second season I did. They said I still held the record for most rules broken in the season. But I mean, but a lot of it came down to we had a lot of arguments over of them trying to be reality people and do what they do, and me being a coach and doing what I do. Because my thing was like so a good example is so they were Kenny Florian was going to fight one of the nights, one of the shows that we were filming. This is not going to be aired for a couple months, right? Till later, and they, so the guy that taped Rap's hands that they hired showed up late. He wasn't there yet, and they wouldn't let me tape his hands because they said, I don't know why. I can tape normally, but they wanted their guy to do it. Okay, whatever. So he gets his hands taped. This guy comes in, this runner comes in and goes, hey, he needs to be out there in 5 minutes. I'm all, hey man, we need about 20 minutes to warm up. We need about 20 minutes to warm up. He goes, he needs to be out there right fucking now. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And guy ran out of the room. She runs out and got the person in charge, and she comes in, and she came in, and she starts yelling at me. I'm all, hey, look here. You hired me to be these kids' coach. I'm going to treat him like the one of mine. This guy's not fighting until he's good guy, until I say he's damn ready, or you can ask them who they want to fire, me or you. Your choice. Good luck. And she took off, and they gave me the time.
Rightfully so, too, because this guy's about to go out and fight for his fucking life. Like, not even for that, but like for his career.
Yeah. It's like, no, he's not ready. And this isn't time. We didn't. And it's not to mention, it's your fault. We're late being warmed up. Yeah. Not ours. So I don't even want to hear it. That being said, we talked after, and it's like, look, I understand you guys are trying to make a show, but they wanted, it was 60 straight days at that time, with fights in the middle of it. Jesus. And they wanted us to do 2 hard workouts a day, every day for 60 days. I'm like, guys, nobody can do that. This ain't gonna happen. I will get them doing something. We can do something. Yeah. But like you got these recovery. And you got these we had these challenges too that were all physical. And you got other things. I'm like, dude, guys, like we can do something. But we gotta kind of,
they're humans.
They're humans. And you asked me to be their coach. I'll be their coach. I get it. We hired you guys to make a reality show. Yeah. I will do what you ask within reason. Yeah.
Everyone's just trying to do their job. They don't understand being an athlete. The athlete doesn't understand that we're trying to put a show on, and that's just all this bullshit, but it turned out to be a fucking great thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because of this show, it slingshotted.
Yeah,
this is one of the, I'm telling you, this show is pretty much the template for like 6 other sports and how they've gotten famous now. Drive to Survive, they're trying to do it with tennis, they're trying to do it with golf. It's all because of the Ultimate Fighter.
How was the show pitched to you? Like, how did it all come together?
They just said we do the show. It's going to end up in a fight, a team fight at the end of the thing, and you get a title shot the week after. It's perfect.
And you're like, let's fucking go.
Title shot, right? Let's go. And that was the argument. We went back and forth because at the time I think I had 2 fights left, so I would have fought once, and then because we usually would have negotiated the contract after that. And he wanted to add two fights at the end of the deal, like, because I was going to fight again before that show, and I won that fight, then fight on the show. And he wanted 2 extra fights at the end of the deal, added whatever that was. But my manager actually quit over it. Jesus. They were arguing. I mean, I still paid him on the 2 fights we had left, actually.
It worked out. He got to say that he represented you, and you got to do what you just did.
So it was fun.
So everyone won.
We're still friends.
So to wrap up The Ultimate Fighter, your fighter, Forrest Griffin, won in a war of a fight against Stephan Bonner. Forrest Griffin won the UFC contract, but Dana White was so impressed with the other fighter that he also awarded the other fighter a UFC contract. Well, I wasn't aware the UFC gave out participation trophies, but here we go.
Stop.
And then a week after, as you mentioned, the season 1 finale of The Ultimate Fighter, it was time for the coaches to fight.
And you guys go in, and you fight. You knock his ass out in the first round.
Yep.
And it's
That was
over.
awesome. And that's about as excited as I ever get. Because you put all that time in, do all that stuff, and then you do it exactly how you want to do it. That's how you knock out. That's how. What if I don't? And I always say the other thing: if you want to pick, like if the second favorite fight is the second one, because it proved that this one wasn't a fluke.
Yeah. Once his luck, twice his skill. 3's a pro. That's what my dad used to say. He goes, once his luck, kid, twice his skill. 3's a pro. Walk us through beat for beat what it's like winning a UFC championship.
It's hard to say beat for beat. I mean, I was just out there. You go out and do your thing, and then I was fired up. If you could tell, if you couldn't tell after watching me after the fight, I was pretty fired up.
Was your grandpa around still?
No, I wish that was a hard one for me.
Yeah.
I always say the one thing you never got to see was me fight in the UFC.
You never got to see the champ.
Never got to see me fight. Watched me fight kickboxing once. Knocked that kid out in the second round, but
But he watched. He got to watch, man. That's.
Yeah, but without him, I wouldn't have been out there. Even my mom. I mean, my mom the same way. She's both of them tough as nails.
Tough as nails.
Both of them raised me tough. And they raised you like with the hard work, that work ethic. I think a lot of it. I always used to say I was never the best athlete in the room, but no, I wouldn't let anybody outwork me. I put in my time, I put in my work. I did everything I needed to do. I got prepared, and just let them fly.
Let them fly. Let's score the game. This is a segment where we score the game. We name the game. These are some names that we came up with. If you have a name, you could throw it out there. We were going to go Liddell versus Couture 2, Chapter 2, The Naturals Disaster, The Iceman Cometh, Iceman's Revenge. Revenge is best served cold. The fight that saved the UFC. Or is there something else?
I think the Naturals Disaster is the funniest.
Let's go Naturals Disaster.
Yeah, but no, all those are pretty good actually.
Which one do you want to pick?
I mean, if I was gonna do one, I'd be the Iceman Cometh, I guess.
Let's do it.
Love it. The Iceman cometh.
The Iceman cometh. Score the game. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Chuck, stakes 0 to 10, decimals okay. The stakes of this specific UFC 52 fight. The stakes. What was that stake?
For me, like that was my chance at a shot. My shot at the title. I don't think I would have got another shot after that.
You got to grade it. 1 to 10, decimals okay.
Stakes 10. That was a fight.
I'm going to say it's a 9.5. This is not just burying Chuck Liddell's freaking career. This was burying like the UFC in general. Like this is the splash. Like the Ultimate Challenger, UFC Challenger show ends.
I don't think it could have been any better for me. Like coming off of the Bonner Forrest fight.
Yeah.
The next week pay-per-view, the biggest pay-per-view by far we'd had since they bought it.
Yeah.
And then to have that explosive finish, win, dominant performance, you couldn't ask for a better. I mean, I think
Jack had an 8.3 out of 8.9.
Let's go star power. You got to grade the star power of this fight. You, Randy Couture. I think I saw Cindy Crawford in the crowd.
Some celebrities in the crowd. Kevin James.
Kevin James was in there.
Pam Anderson.
Pam Anderson's in there.
Shaq. Cindy Crawford. Michael Clark
Everyone
Duncan,
was there.
Vanilla Ice.
You got to grade the star power of this fight.
I'll tell you a funny story about the Vanilla Ice.
Please.
My buddy took a picture. Taking a fight, and when I knocked out Randy, when I first hit him, there's a picture of the whole celebrity row with everybody in that row like this, except for Vanilla Ice, who was doing this. So you know who your true fans are.
Hey, Vanilla Ice,
Yeah.
Iceman.
That's obviously.
Man, I was like, man, he was out of his chair, man. It was awesome.
Are you tight with Ice Cube and Ice T as well?
All ice sticks together.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Iceman, he is. We got to grade the star power 0 to 10.
For the time, I don't know. I got 9.5. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna go 8-9. That's a big ass crowd.
Jack had a 9.2 out of 8.5.
The gameplay of the fight. So how the fight actually went. You have to grade the fight.
It's a 10 for me.
That's a 10 for Chuck.
I mean, I went the way I expected it, and we hit him with that was the punch we wanted to knock him out with. I mean, we wanted him to just come out, pivoting off, and catch him. So, and I got him with it.
I mean, anytime there's a fucking knockout, that's the best way to win. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Jules with a 9. Jack with a 6.2. I had a 5.1, and I'll explain because your side was perfect 5, and then less so on his side. So that's my explanation.
I don't know how to score it.
No.
You asked me, I gave
No, but yours
it went perfect for me.
Yeah. Sure as hell did.
And now, lastly, we score the name of the game. The name of the game, the Iceman's cometh.
Cometh.
The Iceman's cometh.
The Iceman cometh.
That is coming. Iceman cometh. That can be a little different.
But we are grading that.
I guess it depends on how you say it. I like the way he says it. Not sure that.
Not a big reader, Chuck. Not a big reader. We got to score it.
Yeah. It's also the cultural impact of this match, too, in the landscape of UFC and all of sports, too.
The score of the name.
It depends on how you say it, I guess. Well, your version is a 10. I was I don't know, 8.
8. Jules?
I'm going to go with that 8-1.
8-1. Jack had a 7.0. I had a 6.8. Where does that go? It's an 8.31.
Where does it line up in all our games and fights?
That puts us just behind the Shrug game, the 1992 NBA Finals Game 1, Blazers versus Bulls, the Jordan Shrug game, and just ahead of Game 6 of the 2020 NBA Finals, Lakers versus Heat, which was at 8.17. We just did with Genie Bus. So that makes it the new 27th. Not bad.
Fuck yeah. 27th on the whole thing.
Where's our other UFC fight? We did Khabib and McGregor. Where is that?
Right there. It's 33.
33.
Have you done the one with the Giants Super Bowl?
Yeah, we did that. The Giants Super Bowl, one giant loss is.
We're a little biased here. It's a little bit lower.
A little
than probably
biased.
should've.
I don't know. I know you're gonna hate this, but that 18-1 chant on the way out of the stadium was pretty amazing.
I wasn't a Patriot yet. I wasn't a Patriot. I was still in high school, Chuck. I was still in high school.
I know, but you're looking back.
I
was at that game.
Yeah.
And so walking out, the New York fans chanted 18-1 all the way out.
Man.
They were chanting 18-1, 18-1 after the game.
I mean, they're New Yorkers.
Who are you rooting for?
Oh, I was from Strahan.
Okay. He's a good dude.
Who?
Strahan.
Strahan? Yeah.
Coworker.
I give you Stray. I'll let you have Stray.
Well,
I'm not going to say anything otherwise.
I'm a
but
fan. If he wasn't in, I actually Jay used to give me tickets for the Super Bowls I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And I'd give them up. Like if Green Bay didn't make it or wasn't a team I wanted to see, but I went to that one because of him.
I mean, then that was a legendary Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah, I'm still mad. I'm still mad about the going for 16-0 because we had a fight the same night.
Yeah.
They had a free. They had that free. It probably cost us a lot. Like probably cost me some money on pay-per-view.
So then you won. You won after this game.
It was on every channel free because they're going for 16 as the 16-0 season.
Yeah.
And Randy Moss broke the record. Tom and Randy Moss broke the record.
Yeah. Against the Giants.
Yep. We did that game too. We did that game with Sam J.
You lose your casual fans.
Without a doubt.
Because the casual fans are like, well, I want to watch this. Well, I got a choice. I got to pay for something to watch this, or I can watch this for free everywhere.
And football's a machine in this country.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a juggernaut. Don't ask basketball about Christmas Day. The NFL just put a game on Christmas, and that used to be like NBA's day, and it shattered. It shattered them. You know, there's what is it? There's no love or something in war.
No love lost in love and war.
All's fair in love and war.
All's fair in love and war.
All is fair in love and... Fucking Chuck Liddell knows, obviously.
We're not word guys here.
Chuck, did we miss anything with this fight?
I don't know. Not really. It was.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Okay. This whole thing, I'm sitting here and I was watching a lot of like the stories behind this fight and the UFC, and they kept on pitching like, yeah, you basically get to see a sumo, like who would win in a fight, Mike Tyson or Bruce Lee? You know what I mean? The real person who they should be saying, really, I want to ask you, is it Chuck Norris? Isn't Chuck Norris supposed to be like one of the baddest motherfuckers in like real life when it came to it?
Chuck Norris. Yeah. Oh, no, he was
kickboxer. I mean, you're a kickboxing fan, probably.
Yeah, he's a karate guy. He's from, he's on the movies and stuff. And Chuck's a great dude. Like, funny thing is, I did a happy birthday thing for him.
Yeah.
They asked me to do a video, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, wait, let me see. I've been a fan of his. How long have I been a fan of his? Let me look that up. 40 years. Oh, no. Am I that old? I've been a fan of his I've been watching his movies for 40 years. It's crazy. It's crazy.
He's
still around. They asked me to do something with his dog food brand. It's like, it's cool. Like, he's a good dude.
I think Chuck Norris should do something for Chuck Liddell's food. I was trying to make a Chuck Liddell, Chuck Norris joke, but okay. I'm not that smart.
You didn't land it.
So I had nothing. Everyone's got to go check out Chuck Liddell on social media, all of the platforms, King of Violence clothing.
You're wearing a shirt right now.
We're wearing a shirt right now. Look at this. This thing's badass. You guys got a little anime look to it, almost.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I like the cartoon. Anything else to plug, Chuck?
Not right now. We got some other stuff coming up, but we'll wait.
Dude, I appreciate you coming into the house so much, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, that was an awesome episode. Chuck, I didn't realize he was karate, wrestling,
kickboxing. Yeah.
It's cool to get all that straightened out.
The wrestler talk is always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were looking, we couldn't get it completely confirmed. We talked about Stephen Neal, who was at Cal State Bakersfield, won a national championship, beat Brock Lesnar in the finals. Tito Ortiz might have been teammates with him. Tito Ortiz wrestled at Cal State Bakersfield around the same time.
Didn't know if we wanted to get there. Okay? I mean, he's still Chuck Liddell. You don't want to piss him off. All right?
And we had a nice little hang with him afterwards.
We had a great hang with him. But still.
All kinds of stories he told us then, too.
He is a legend.
Being a top dog athlete in like 2006, 2007, like pre-social media, like cameras, really, you could get away with some stuff. Yeah. And
then also, how about like his kids playing against parents that like are trying to rile up Chuck Liddell? Okay, read a room.
Yeah,
read a fucking room.
Imagine being 12 years old and Chuck Liddell is heckling you.
No, but not even that. It's the parents. Like I go to these soccer games. Okay, you sit and you see the other parents and stuff, and don't for a second tell me you didn't see Chuck Liddell. Don't for a second tell me you didn't see Chuck Liddell. You could see him from a mile away.
You see the
fucking mohawk,
yep,
and his fanny pack, and the way he stands and shit. And he's probably out in the corner. Back over there in the fucking soccer field or the basketball gym where he's just sitting there. He's got something in his fanny pack. He's getting there and he's got his he kind of reminded me of my dad. but you're not gonna fuck with Chuck Liddell. So parents, read the room.
The chill zone. Ready?
It's time for the Chill Zone, brought to you by our favorite beer, Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door.
Can you toss
Visit
me one?
CoorsLight.com/GWN. Celebrate responsibly.
Can you toss me one? No. Let's see here.
Oh, soft hands, Kyler.
Oh.
Ugly Finder.
Need a new computer.
Computer is done.
I need one anyway. All right, we're going to start with some voicemails. Okay,
Let's
ready?
do some voicemails.
Hey, what's up, Gangs with Names? This is Robert from Hollister, California. I listen to the show every commute I work in the Bay Area from Hayward. I work for Pepsi, and you guys always, keep me entertained on my commutes. I listen to you guys on the road. I watch your guys' YouTube videos. My question for Julian is, I'm always in the Redwood City area working. Where do you recommend I go to eat? I like Mexican food. I like American. So if you can recommend something for me, I'd really appreciate it. You guys roll. You guys keep it up. Thank you.
What's up, Robert? From Hollister. I know Hollister very well. I used to play him in Pop Warner. And then also, what's up, Rocky? It's right by Gilroy, and that's where you used to take your dirt bikes, Hollister. It's a commute. It's a commute, especially with that traffic. So we appreciate you listening to our show during that commute. Mexican food in Redwood City, easy. If you want a burrito, I'm a Chavez Meat Market guy. Not the one off Fifth Avenue. What is the other? The one right by off of Whipple. There's a perpendicular street. Don't go to the Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue one's fine. It does its justice, but it's not the original Chavez Meat Market. Dad's been going there since he was like 8. We've been going to that place forever. They used to have a place called La Azteca, and this lady used to own it. She was kind of a pretty lady, I remember, as a kid. And she, knew my dad, because my dad's been going to these Mexican restaurants since he was, a fucking kid. And so I remember they don't have La Azteca. But if you want some street tacos, LG's, Taco El Gurense. Taco El Gurense. Damn, I can't roll my R with my dip in right now. So, yeah.
What's the
burrito,
order?
Chavez Meat Market, tacos, LG's, Taco El Gurense. There's 4 of them. Those are my spots.
What are you ordering there?
I always just get a super burrito at Chavez.
So what's that? Guac and sour cream?
No guac. I don't like guac in my burrito.
Okay.
I like my burritos sour creamy.
Okay.
So I go. They throw in a pinto bean, rice, pico de gallo, salsa, queso. I usually go with the carne asada or pollo asado. And then they put a pico de gallo in there with crema, queso. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's my favorite. I like and it's got the runny sour cream.
Yeah. The
You
more
have
of
to have
the
runny
the
sour
crema.
cream
Yeah.
for Mexican food.
Yeah.
You can't be having some fucking, what is it, some dolls or whatever, squeezing some sour cream that you should be putting.
Now, are you ever for burritos, I'm a big burrito and sauce on top of every bite.
Yeah, you got to get the
Yeah.
salsa verde and you put it every bite.
Yeah.
Every bite. And then tacos, LG's, I just go, they also have kind of sneaky good quesadillas where they make the quesadilla and then they cut it up and they put lettuce, sour cream, and the salsa. It's a fucking messy quesadilla.
In the quesadilla?
On top of it.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to use fork and knife or you're going hands.
Yeah.
Me and my boy Dro used to snag those all the time.
Now,
So,
is it a type of place that's cutting up with the spatulas?
yeah.
They're cutting it up with that.
Oh no, they're just cutting. They'll grab this is how they do it. They grab the piece of the meat, and they used to be able to eyeball it. Now they've gotten a little too capitalistic now for my liking, where they're measuring shit out.
Yeah.
I understand where you're going, but they used to eyeball it, and then they fucking cut it right there, pop, 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 with the butcher knife.
Yeah.
And they pop, 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 pop. And they get it and they put it on your burrito and they roll it nice and tight. They used to steam the tortilla. Now they've changed it. Or now they have a presser.
Okay.
But I'm a Chavez Meat Market. LG's for tacos.
Did you take us? I think you took us there when we were there years ago.
Was it good?
Yeah, I remember being really good. And you'd be like, it's kind of like in the kind of like a convenience store type of vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a Mexican market.
So good.
Great, and they also have really good. So that's what we'll do is we'll buy a bunch of their meat there because it's a meat market, and you can buy and you can make your own tacos. So like if I do tacos, I'll buy their meat,
Some
because
tortillas.
they season it, and they got like the flank steak, like the very thin.
Yeah.
And then you put that on there, and bang, and you get the sides with it, all their salsas and stuff. Like we always do that. We cater with them a bunch. I love Chavez Meat Market.
Shit, I might get a burrito tonight.
I know. They don't have. It's different though.
It's
'Cause it's
different
a
here.
mission style burrito,
The tortillas are different. Yeah.
and we're mission style. Like out here, they don't put rice and beans in there.
Dude, my spot does.
Which is it?
Taco Gualaguetza.
I gotta look.
I don't want to blow it up, but on Vine and Melrose in the Pavilion's parking lot. Oh. And what they do.
Wait. Is it? Wait.
I took you to that place.
Yeah, but you keep on. Those
It's-
are all the same. Those are
Maybe
all the
to
same.
your palate.
Because there's no. Well, I'm just telling you. Like I've been to the one right down the road.
Mine's
on-
better than yours ones. I agree with that. Mine's
Huh?
better than yours.
That yeah,
Because
but
we're in
it's
the west side. West side, the like
there's
pop-up
there's the
places aren't as
brothers
good.
one on the west side.
That one's okay.
It's the
Mine's
same
still better
thing.
than that one.
But when I go to those ones, so what we're what we're talking about in like parking lots or on the side of streets in LA, you'll have people at 5 o'clock that they just bring their freaking flat top and they make their own tacos and burritos and shit. Only one complaint for me, but I solved the complaint. I bring my own crema, so I'll bring sour cream because you'll order your thing and then you put your own shit on and then they roll it for you. So I'll put my shit in, I'll get my sour cream out of my pocket and I'll pour it on there. And my dude always looks at me and he goes, "That's smart."
So you bring sour cream and then you put it in when they roll it?
put it in.
See, I put the sour cream on top when I'm
Nah,
eating.
it's gotta. I like the juices to formulate in the burrito with the sour cream.
Okay.
Then it becomes like creamy juice.
I might have to steal that move.
Yeah, it's a spectacular move. Like it makes those. It's so much work for me to do that. I only do
Yeah.
it like once a month. Because like I gotta
understand.
plan it out.
I
Because I
understand.
get
I
sicked
understand.
out with like if the sour cream gets too warm.
Yeah, no,
and-
I understand.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So, but those are the best around here
Yeah,
for those kind
but
of.
it's a different style burrito because like
Yeah.
a Mission style burritos, it's a little bit tighter. The tortilla's a little bit different. Gonna have sour cream,
Rice,
mandatory,
bean.
yeah, guac generally.
They usually have a pico too.
Yeah.
in NorCal. Like a lot of times they'll just put cilantro, onion here. I like a
Yeah.
little tomato in there.
Yeah, I agree. A little lime juice in there. The place that I go to, when you get a burrito, you can ask with con queso. They throw the cheese down on the grill.
Yeah, and then they put
it on
this
the top.
tortilla on top, and yeah, I've been them all.
How long have you been a Boston fan? And did you hate any Boston players or teams growing up? Thanks, Jules. Have a nice day.
What's up, buddy? I've been a Boston fan. I became a Boston fan right when I got drafted. 2009. I went out and bought me a Celtics hat. I went out and got me a Red Sox hat. I've never, like on the West Coast, you really didn't know about Boston all that much. I knew they were the sexy team with Kurt Schilling and those guys. And like you all liked Big Papi, but they were kind of like, they were the likable team to a
Yeah.
West Coaster compared to the Yankees. I
The
hated
underdog
the
to the Yankees, like evil
I
empire.
hated the Yankees growing up.
Yeah.
Sick hat, love the hat, love the unis, but I could never wear a Yankees cap. Like even as a kid, just like I don't like the Dodgers. You know, I'm a Bay Area kid. I hate the LA Dodgers hat, such a sick hat, but I can't wear it. You know, I'm a SF fan. But I would say 2009 because when I got there, the Celtics just won the championship in 2008.
Mm-hmm. Big three.
And then I got to go to the playoffs when they were playing against the Lakers as a rookie. And I started going to basketball. That was like the first basketball games I really went to. And the Bruins were doing good. And I became friends with a bunch of the Bruins. So I think right when I got there, I like took on the Boston thing. I was like, man, I fucking love this place. Pro City town. It's kind of like my Bay Area. And like it didn't have any refute. Like it didn't refute with
Yes.
San Francisco.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
It's a nice, clean, different conference or different side of the country.
Yeah.
It's not offensive. There's no rivalries. I totally understand.
But
Like,
it wasn't like the Lakers or Yankees where you just hated both of them because those are the great. You know what I mean? Even though the Boston teams were the greats too, but it's a different. They've always been like an underdog looking team.
Yeah. I understand. I just bought a LA Kings shirt yesterday just because, like, there is no friction between them and the Penguins, and they had a sick thing. So it's like, I understand the cross-country, the cross-conference.
Ever since that LA skate, I've felt a little more a part of this community.
Yeah.
And like, I've looked at the Kings games now a little.
Yeah. We should go to they'll probably be in the playoffs. We should go to a playoff game
We should.
coming up. That'd be sick. So,
Boston was just in town.
So was there any, we went last night.
I
Was
know.
there any Boston players you hated?
I didn't hate any of the. I liked Garcia Papara. I liked how everyone said their name. His name. What is his name?
Nomar Garcia Parra.
Yeah, Nomar Garcia Parra. I just remember watching shit.
Dude,
like,
he'd be
and I like the
cooked.
batting gloves.
He'd
stuff.
be cooked with the fucking shot clock now.
Yeah,
Just cooked.
and I loved Poppy. I mean, Poppy was like, I just remember in high school seeing this guy swearing at the mic after they just won a World Series and beat the Yankees. I was like, this guy is fucking badass.
Now, you must have had eyes on Tom Brady being a Bay kid playing for the
Yeah,
Patriots
so I actually even more. Yeah, you're refreshing me. So Tom was from my area, so I liked I had no clue that they were part of Boston though. I didn't know where New England was before I got there. So like I didn't.
You just
know.
had like zero clue, or you just knew it was generally in the Northeast.
I remember watching it on fucking, like the pregame of Madden. I would play with the Patriots after like Tom won a Super Bowl in like 01 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where the fuck is this place? It's like in a forest. Like there's no city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't really know what New England was that. And then, I always rooted for Tom because he was from right where I grew up. And he was kind of the underdog, like the whole Michigan story. He had to play for his job. Like that was all kind of known in the Bay.
Yeah.
And then also like Peyton Manning was the guy and everyone was hyping him up. And then Tom came and he was winning. Like I liked that story.
Well, he was kind of in that same like Boston Red Sox underdog in the first dynasty.
Yeah.
He was in that easy to root for, likable kid,
Yeah.
And then the Bay connection, I'm assuming, would just.
The Bay connection was everything.
Good question.
That was a really good question, young man.
Yeah, Julian Edelman, it's your boy Macho Man Randy Savage, yeah. You see, I'm flying above the Games with Names studio in the Goodyear Blimp, yeah. And I've been thinking about coming down there, because there's something I gotta teach you, yeah. I'm gonna bend you over my knee and take off this World Heavyweight Championship belt, yeah, and beat you with it like your daddy should have, yeah. You ain't gonna be able to handle what the Macho Man's got coming for you. You're gonna rise to the top like the cream of the crop. Yeah, I'll get you later, little boy, yeah.
No question, but pretty good macho.
Was that just Jack? Too much Coors Light?
Oh yeah. We should start picking in a post segment. I just want to pick a Macho Man Randy Savage clip that I find, and we just talk about it for 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Conan O'Brien, when NBC and Universal merged years ago, when Conan O'Brien was doing the Late Show, whatever it used to be called, he had a Walker Texas Ranger lever, and every once in a while he just pulled a lever and it'd just be the most random, hilarious Walker Texas Ranger clip. I feel like we could do that for Macho Man.
Yeah, definitely.
The Macho Man lever.
I think I saw him skiing on the Alps last week for my algorithm.
It's because you were just skiing.
I was skiing, you know.
You're skiing a lot.
So
a lot
I see
of
Macho Man. Oh yeah, I'm about to show this macho mountain who the Macho Man is. Oh yeah, right there.
Awesome. I'll tell you later, but there's a guest coming on that's doing a very deep cut WWE match coming up because he's a wrestler adjacent. We just got invited to the AEW event in Long Beach in a couple weeks.
Ooh, AEW.
MLW, sorry.
MLW. Considering I was only a WWF guy, and I just had to get to WWE. Anyone who did the WCW, I mean, I loved Goldberg, but he was the only one from WCW. And there was a couple of the other off-brand ones. Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm a one-brand guy. I'm a one-brand guy.
All right.
WWF that turned into WWE.
This might speak to my childhood, but when I think WWF, I do actually think the World Wildlife Federation because I had a picture. It was a sticker of a panda with WWF on my parents' refrigerator. And it's hard to believe they won. Anyway, last voicemail.
Hey, Jules. My dad and I have always wondered, in Super Bowl 49, right after the Malcolm Butler interception, Michael Bennett jumps offside, but what was the play call in the huddle? Was it a QB sneak or was it something different? Thanks.
That's a great question. I think I want to say it was a QB sneak because we needed to gain some room.
It was like on like 6 inches.
You couldn't take a knee. So it was a QB sneak. We were actually tripping not tripping, but like on high alert, like, boys, we need to execute this play. The game's not over. And, thankfully, Mike jumped off sides and that was the game. And then we had melee after melee. And then it was fucking WWF out there. So, but it was a QB sneak.
That's something that gets lost with that game is that after the interception, it wasn't just like confetti. There was that balls on the 6-inch line. You got to not have a safety here.
Gronk and Michael just fucking throwing haymakers.
And Slater's jumping up and down.
And it was kind of at the point where, like, I bet you at that point, I'm thinking now, like, looking back on it, you could probably get a couple punches and you wouldn't get suspended.
Why was Slater on the field?
Because he was always in the right tight diamond kill part of the field.
But isn't that Neil?
I think he may have been in it as also. He would always be on there just because he would be the safety.
Okay.
If anything ever were to happen. If there was a fumbled snap, they somehow got it. He was like our fastest guy that could go get him.
Fastest, smart. You trust him on the field. Yeah.
So we always put Slate on right tight diamond kill. Best play in football. The knee.
All right, before we wrap up, let's go. Some of you might know we've been doing YouTube premieres for full-length episodes. Jack's in there, I'm in there, you've been in there. It's a lot of fun. This is the whole crew of people. The meme account's in there. Shout out Dallin. And we encourage you to leave comments that we will communicate and talk about on the show. Well, here they are. Also, it's good for the algorithm to comment on the show, so anything you can do to help would be great. So here are some comments that people left in the full-length episodes. Do you want me to read them? Do you want to read them?
Need Danny Woodhead on the show. I agree.
Where is he right now?
Nebraska.
He's in Nebraska?
Yeah, he's probably golfing. He's a great golfer. Danny's an unbelievable golfer, and he's a great dad. He's probably like, and him and his wife, they're like just they're such great Midwest people. They're probably at a soccer event right now.
Is Nebraska Midwest?
Yeah, Nebraska's Midwest.
Is Heartland different from Midwest?
Yeah, I don't know, but I put the...
Yeah, it's all...
They're in the same.
Yeah, okay.
Just delightful people.
He's a top person that people recommend to have on the show. Danny Woodhead.
Yeah, we need to. I think he has his own shows and stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's had some stuff before.
I would love to have Woody on.
Give you some golfing tips?
Yeah, I need a lot of them. Woody is like scratch. I remember hearing about him when we were playing. And he's got a lot more time on his hand to work on that shit, so he's probably fucking... Didn't he try to qualify a couple times? I remember we tweeted for some shit for him.
He was close, I think, in the U.S. Open. I don't know. I have to double check on that. But that was Aiden Lemire 21. Thanks for that comment. Drake Ankrum.
Episodes with both McCourtys would be dope. I think that would be amazing too.
Can you tell them apart?
Yeah, easy.
Easy?
I can easily tell them apart. I don't know why, but I can.
When you know twins, it's actually super easy to know them apart. It's just when you don't know them that it's hard.
Jason, like in his eye area, like right here for podcasters that are listening, it's right here if you look. Like I see it right in this area, like the eyes, they're a little different. And the shape of the head is a little different too.
Okay. It's easy to notice that when they're shaved. Yeah.
Both big.
Yeah.
But shape's a little. And the voices are different too. I know the voice too. And the tones are different. The tones are different. Devin's an asshole tone. Jason's an informational tone.
What's the difference between? Can you an example of an asshole tone?
I don't know. Dev's they're fucking. They'd be amazing on the show because they're just. Those were the guys that spoke in front of the team. They could speak in front of people.
Yeah.
Oh, I love. They're really good to watch too.
Yeah, they're great. At base Shaughnessy 5314.
Intelligence was key. Intelligence was the key to New England's dynasty. All these former Pats are intelligent guys.
Intelligent, not reading. There's a fine line between those two.
Doesn't mean you don't have to be a
different.
great reader to be intelligent.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, we had some smart guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in class all day. And like, if you didn't do good on your test, you got fired. So guys, you had to stick around. Guys had to be able to retain information. There's only, you know what I mean? We had a really good group of guys. There wasn't that many assholes. There weren't many. There wasn't any really.
Yeah.
Guys worked hard, and that was a product of, because of our leadership, the guys at the top, the Tom Brady's, no one else thought they could.
Yeah.
You know, it's not cool when you roll up into the locker room with like 10 chains and fucking nuke. No, it's cool is when you roll up and you break down a coverage with the quarterback that you saw in the game that he saw and create that conversation. That's fucking cool. Because you know what that turns into? That turns into another chain.
Yeah.
If he throws you the rock.
Yeah. One of our favorite things about this show is that generally athletes and football players don't really have the opportunity to have a long form piece of media out there.
Yeah.
So it's like we bring all these Patriots guys, front office and players, and there's 2-3 hours where they can talk and you can just talk football and you can really like dive into the intelligence of these guys.
What's her name? Or what's the name?
Bay Shaughnessy 5314.
Bay Shaughnessy. That's probably directed to Rid. She's like, man, Rid's a lot smarter than I thought he was.
Why would you say that, Jules? Why would you?
I don't know, because he's a running back. But Rid's a funny ass dude. He didn't talk that much, and that was his first podcast. So she probably saw the Ridley episode. She said, like, man, I didn't think he was that smart, but he's pretty fucking smart.
Yeah. And if Rid's that smart,
Yeah.
how much? Yeah. We got to do more stuff with Rid. He was great. He's got more stories too.
He's the best.
A couple more here. DA.
Get Jay Moore on. I know. Get Jay Moore on. Saw him escort Jeannie in the opening shot. Funny dude and big sports guy. That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we were texting back and forth, and I had to travel, and we got to do a pod swap for sure. He's definitely a funny guy.
I mean, he spent like 20 minutes going through like the memorabilia,
Everything.
like roasting.
He had a story on everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to get him on the show, and we got to do his show.
Noseball. Got
Jeannie Bus before we got Tom. Unreal. Yeah, I know. Pretty unreal. Does the bubble championship really count? Yeah.
Yeah. All the teams were there, right?
Yeah.
You had to beat every team to win.
Yeah.
Okay, last couple here. World's most hated 3,000.
Congrats on $500,000. Cheers to $500,000 more.
We have 500,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Let's fucking go.
Thank you, guys. That's all you guys.
Hell yeah. World's most hated 3,000. Thanks for fucking. See, I would never hate you for bringing that up. Why do you think the name is World's Most Hated? Is that like.
I don't know. I don't have enough life force to speculate.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. He's not hated. 3,000. Bissonette has joined Burr, O'Shea, Jackson Jr., Matt Light, and Michael Keegan K as one of my favorite.
Michael Key.
Keegan Michael K. Bissonette has now joined Burr, O'Shea, Jackson Jr., Matt Light, and Michael Keegan K.
But I think it's Jules is reading it right. It's Keegan Michael Key, right? But the comment is flipped. So you're right, but you're wrong. You're right, they're wrong, but you're just, I'm Ron Burgundy moment here.
K, right?
Key. It's Key. It's Keegan Michael Key. They have it Michael Keegan Key.
Michael Keegan?
No, it's Keegan Michael Key. Go see Transformers 1.
Great. Fuck.
Go get a Coney Island dog.
Bissonette's funny.
Yeah, he was great.
The Biz.
This is just a new listener, right? These are like the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta go get up in those weeds, bud.
Yeah.
Go get the weeds and you'll see some real funny shit too.
And then the last one. This is our top requested game now that we've done a lot of the Patriots Super Bowls. Got to do Fight Night at the Joe. Darren McCarty will come on for sure. Maybe Patrick Waugh. We actually fun fact, we are talking with Darren McCarty. He wants to come on the show. It's scheduling. I also want to be greedy and get Claude Lemieux on too. But that'll happen. That's going to happen.
Got it. We're full hockey podcast now.
Dude, you know who reached out? I don't even know I should say this. You know who reached
Gretzky.
out? No.
Yeah, Gretzky did.
The NHL reached out.
Oh. Well, Gretzky's bigger
representing-
than the NHL, I think, isn't he?
What's that?
Is Gretzky bigger than the NHL?
No.
Not yet.
They're like, it's Tom Brady bigger than the NFL. The NFL.
No.
No, right? Is it Tom or Bill, right? You can't,
I'm joking. It was a joke.
It's funny.
But
the NHL representing Lord Stanley Cup.
Lord Stanley Cup might be on this couch here soon, I heard, huh?
We'll see. This might get cut, but if it doesn't, we'll see.
We had the basketball.
Yeah.
What is that one called?
Larry O'Brien.
We've had Larry on.
Yeah.
We're about to have Stanley.
Yeah.
You can't even get old Vinny anymore.
This is what the NHL guy said. We had a Larry O'Brien trophy on Games with Names, but we can have the Stanley Cup on Games with Names.
Oh, hockey. Getting your fingernails pretty dirty there. And that was the Chill Zone. Thanks to our favorite beer, Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN. Celebrate responsibly, folks. What a fight. And thanks again to Chuck. That's been another episode of Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember,
Rate and review.
leave us a 5-star review on Spotify while you're there. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat, all the socials. Leave a comment on the YouTube full episode. We just read a few. We like reading them. We'll read some more on future episodes. Leave a message on the old hotline at 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names, a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit an iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.